So, Iraq, what's the first dish that you have here?
The first dish.
Yeah. Was it
I don't
mesgou?
remember the name
The first
actually.
and last, I would say.
You guys are very far from the mic, so you have to like
Because
be close.
he arrived one day after us.
Yeah.
So since when he arrived, we just ate beef kebab. Me and him. The
Oh my
others
God.
were more willing to open to the diversity. We just ate beef kebab, but the first day we had something different. I don't remember the name. Maybe Francesca, do you remember the bulgur?
But yeah, I'm guessing like chicken with borgol, right? Yeah, yeah. That's not Iraqi, by the way.
No?
That's like yeah, no. We have like mesgou, dolma. Have you eaten
Yeah,
dolma?
No, we
we
haven't.
ordered dolma, but
Okay.
this restaurant just finished it before us.
Oh.
But we also had yesterday in Jaff a local dish. Still, I don't remember the name because for us Arabs names are difficult.
Yeah.
It was rice with
This very creamy and saucy minced meat,
Oh, okay.
like very red. It's just kind of thrown on top of the rice.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay. So I'm
delicious.
guessing like cozy or something.
Could be.
Yeah, very nice. Okay. So, Claudia, this is your first time.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not your first
Second
time.
time,
Second time in
Yeah,
in
as
Morocco.
a
What's
visitor. I've been here a few times. Also
yeah?
for work.
What is like your experience with Iraq? Like your impressions?
Look, I mean, I think for me it's been a quite good surprise. I mean, to start, and also quite pleasant to come back. So I've had the luck to live in the Middle East for some time. I have some background of Middle Eastern history because some of my family lived here. In the 70s, kind of building up what the Middle East was going to become before everything that happened. And I mean, I kind of uh, it's important for me to be aware, right? And I think this place in this country is the place where obviously kind of people are not aware. So I guess what we're trying to do is just kind of making people understand, kind of the scale of things that happens here.
Yeah.
And I guess it's also a very important moment in history in which finding yourself kind of facing Middle East kind of gives you a lot of opportunity to get a biased perspective, right? As I told you, I'm quite lucky because just by living in the Middle East, also if I live in Dubai, which is a different world, obviously, I kind of get what's going on, and I also kind of get the context of what has happened in the past, why it has happened, and what's kind of the eye with which we try to look at things.
That's very very nice. What about you? This is your first time, so what's your
it's
impression?
my first time, but I have to say
Get closer. To the
it's
mic.
my first time,
Yeah.
and I was I'm sorry, I was positively biased. Why? Because Claudio came here before
Okay.
than me, and he told me, bro, we have to go there. That's the beginning of every civilization of this world. It's too beautiful. There are no tourists. People are kind. So this is what I found, but I expected this. And I think that now there will be two people. No, there will be 3, 4, 5 people going back to Italy and saying this story to our friends. So it can be an exponential energy.
That's very, very, very nice and thoughtful of you, Claudio, to bring them all here. Very nice to influence them all. You've marketed the country for us. So now, like, I want to ask, what is Macondo, the right name for it, right? So what does the name come from? I think I heard about something like a fairy tale that works. Like it matches your story, I think.
It was. It comes from a romance, a book. It's the name of the book is 100 Years of Solitude, Cien Años de Soledades, in Spanish.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
That's I would say the most famous book of one of the most important writers of Latin America of the last century. His name is Gabriel Garcia Marquez. He also won a Nobel Prize, and in this book is located in Macondo. Macondo is an imagination. It's not a real city village, but it reminds the village where a young Marquez was used to go when he was a child together with the mom during the summertime to just visit his aunts. And while he was going to the village of his aunts, he was always stopping in front of this private village called Macondo that was where Americans and they were the industrial of a banana company was exploiting the villages in this Caribbean coast in the north of Colombia. So he was just stopping outside from the village, looking inside, imagining this world inside this closed village where Americans were living in the north of Colombia. And he's the writer of the magic realism. So he was imagining magic things in this village, and this is also what we want that people traveling with Macondo live, something magic in special places.
Yeah.
That's why the name of Macondo.
It's like in undocumented places like Laos and Brazil. It's very nice. I saw the documentaries, but I didn't really understand because I tried to see the captions, but like I didn't really understand them. I knew the Brazil one was on music. I love that. So how do you choose?
Actually, it was on resistance, cultural resistance.
Through music, right?
As I told you, we are trying to use this narrative structure of cinema. In cinema, you have a topic and you have a theme, something more general, more universal around the topic. So we are talking about music, but while talking about music, we were talking about cultural resistance. While asking to an Afro-Brazilian woman or man, what is samba for you? What is music? He or her will always gonna say, music for me, resistance. Doing samba for me is reconnecting with my ancestors, the African slaves that came here 100 years ago as slaves, and this musical reed come from the roots, from the blood of that slaves.
Yeah, I understand that. So it really connects to the history, identity, and culture of the people. How do you choose the theme of the movie that you're gonna make? Like, obviously every country has different angles. You can touch on multiple angles that you're going to take from. So how do you choose, like, okay, so for this country we're going to use this angle? Do you have that even?
That's a good question. It's people choosing the theme, because by definition I don't know that country, so I cannot choose what to tell. It's people telling me what to tell, so I just choose maybe the topic. Okay, Brazil is very known for music. Let's go there and let's try to talk about music. Then when you go there, you understand that behind the music there is another theme. The music was just the topic. The theme was the resistance. And it's natural. Every person I met there was saying me that music was resistance. So we understood that the theme was resistance.
Interesting. So does, like, you obviously you told me that Macondo is more than trying to make movies. It's about like making this meaningful expeditions, meaningful travel to countries that we have never, like, I mean, heard about, but like badly. So when you go there, do you give yourself like a week and then you decide the theme, or like how does the process go with deciding the theme?
But do you mean with the documentaries or with the trips?
Yeah.
Because they are, let's say, different. When we do the documentaries, we go the crew and some friends. Then we also understand the territory and the location, the logistic. We make some partnership with locals, and then we bring groups.
Okay. So you go there first.
We go there first.
And then you explore it. How much time does it take you to like pick out a theme for a documentary?
2 days, 3 days.
Interesting. So 2 days after like exploring the city?
Yeah, we talk to people and they tell us what we are talking about.
Interesting. Very nice. I love that. very fast and quick.
Yeah,
Uh,
because it's something that you tell me. If I meet you the first day, it will require 1 day,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
Of course, I need 2, 3 people, 4 people saying different people from different samples saying me the same thing. Okay,
yeah,
for these people talking about this topic means this theme. And normally, theme is something universal. We try always to universalize the theme at the end because cultural resistance is not just resistance of music of Afro-Brazilian roots. Cultural resistance is something belonging to every human being in this world. So we always try to universalize the theme at the end of our storytelling.
yeah. I understand that. All right, so I'm very excited to get into your project about Iraq, to be honest. So like, do you want to tell me more about it?
Yeah, I can tell you, but it's work in progress.
So you don't want to share about it?
No, I can share what's our idea. The idea was to go deep dive into your archaeological, your cultural heritage.
Yeah.
So we visited Babylonia, we visited Ur, we visited Uruk, Samarra, Najaf. Okay,
Very nice.
very places full of culture, full of history,
History, yeah.
rich. And what we realized is that we were alone, and for us this is a new feeling, because today with mass tourism everywhere you go, you are you have a lot of people taking pictures with
yeah.
their mobile phone to even if it's nothing, it's just a stone. No, here you have some of the most important monuments of the history of the entire planet,
and no one's there.
Yeah, there was absence.
Yeah.
So we started to wonder why there is this absence in these places. These places are full of absence.
Yeah.
And we understood that the absence comes from the idea that we in the Western countries have of these places, and the idea is related to not to your ancient history, but the idea is related to your recent history, to the war, to terrorism. So people in the West think that here there's still the war, and here there's terrorism. That's
So
why
dangerous.
your cultural heritage is full of absence. So this is the second thing we realized. Then we started to talk to locals, and locals are telling us, first of all, locals are treating us very well. Everyone is very, very kind with us, Arab style. So Arabs are kind people. And I also see progressive society, especially in Baghdad. Maybe in the countryside, in the marshlands, there are more traditional people, but still they are kind. Maybe they are not so progressive in terms of ideologies. But what I found is a country that is reborning from his how do you say,
ashes,
like the phoenix, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that we will end up talking about the renaissance of the country, because this is what we are feeling, a phoenix reborning from the
its ashes.
Its ashes. Ashes.
I love that. That's very, very nice. I mean, like there is a big disconnection between like Iraqi, especially youth, and their history. And I know our history is like not linear, and we had like a lot of occupations and things, but like what I'm talking about is the history of this land, of like the ancient things and ancient Mesopotamia. So like I want to ask you, what's your take on
You know, we make actually
that?
we've made this joke a few times in kind of preparing for the trip and understanding what to go and see. That if you take our kind of middle school history book, you open it, the first 10, 15, 20 pages are all about things that are here, you know.
Wow.
So obviously the history of Babylonia, of Sumerians, of Syrians is all stuff that we study as clearly foundation of
Yeah.
civilization, but it's kind of, as you said, like disconnected to the idea that this place can be found somehow through all the kind of mess, at least in the way we see it, that has happened to this country. And I guess it's also generational, right? Because you said we have this disconnect, but we do also have it, right? Because we didn't live the times of war in Iraq. I mean, we might have lived it, but we were like 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
So really, what we developed, the idea we developed about this country is even much more disconnected to our experience firsthand, but it's more kind of stories being told, or kind of I would say generalization of concepts. While if you just kind of go a little bit deeper into the name and the colors and the flag, you find that wow, there's something that is as important as Parthenon in Athens. It's here.
Yeah.
Or something that is as important as you name it. We're full of these things in Italy, and we're very proud of those. And for us, it's obviously difficult to understand why people just kind of don't consider this.
connect it, yeah.
So I guess for us it's important also to give this message of how basically bad a prejudice can spread through not just a simple look over a country or a person, but across a full society, which means its history, its economy, its people simply. So we start from history here, but we really take that as a chance to expand to everything else that we found in this place.
Very, very, very nice. So like do you have any like particular reason why this gap exists, like between Iraqi youth or like modern Iraqi with the ancient Mesopotamia? Like why don't people aren't proud of their culture?
Look, actually, I mean, could be a question for you, right? For us, at least, for me, when your mind is so occupied by something, you forget what you have, and you think that everything you've lived is basically everything that has, always existed, right? I guess probably, when Italians were doing war, they were also, not thinking there, oh, actually, we have Colosseum and we have, everything that, is there in Rome. But the fact that, this country lasted so long across obviously kind of different historical events and different wars, it just probably kind of, maybe it's a bit strong to say, but gave a reason for people to be a bit less proud somehow,
Yeah.
because they probably convinced themselves that everything that was around them was, again, like history of bad things, right?
Yeah.
But maybe a question for you is like, do you feel proud about these things today?
To be honest, I am developing that. Like I didn't grow up with the feeling of like having a connection with my history, or like even having connection with Iraq. It's like itself. We've always grown up with this idea of like we need to leave to live better lives. We need to go to the West to live better lives, and like that was always sold to us and by our parents as well, because our parents didn't have good lives in Iraq because of the all the wars and everything. So like we always, and if you talk to a lot of youth now, you'll find that there's always a dream of leaving, there's I've talked to someone once and he told me like, I don't know what's the feeling of being stable and not wanting to leave my country. So like it's always about pursuing better opportunities elsewhere, and never focusing on what we can do here, and never focusing on what we can develop here. And there's always a saying that Iraq will never be developed, so we don't have to try, and that is like instilled in the eyes of youth.
But do you think this place deserves a chance to be trusted?
100%. I learned to develop that. I had to develop that because I didn't really want to leave. I had my people here, and there's no place like home, right? But the thing is, there's always like a pressure and influence and a feeling like you don't belong. If you want to grow, if you want to make a good life, you will not belong with the crowd here, so you have to leave. But I do think it deserves, because when I got deeper, when I got to really know my people without judgment, is where I really love this country and try to appreciate it more.
I also have an answer to your question before. I think that the gap, because your question was about the gap,
Yeah.
came also from the fact that we just had one voice telling us a story. Because before, the voice to tell a story was more expensive. Because before you were telling stories with television, you needed to produce something that was very expensive. We just were buying these audiovisual products
Yeah.
from the same producer that we know
Yeah.
who is.
Yeah.
Today, there's a democratization of the voices. Today, there are social media, and also the social media are evolving. I would say there are pros and cons, but are evolving in a more democratic way. Today, you are not having contents from people that you follow. You are having content from the crowd of the world that got the most interest on them.
Yeah.
So I think that today you have a new mean to get your
Influence.
voice listened by the entire world. Yeah, of course, maybe these means started to expand in a period of history where you were thinking to other things, as Claudio told before. But you needed a little bit of stability before. Now you have stability, you have new means respect of the time before the war.
Yeah.
So I think but it's just my personal opinion. The problem of the gap was that, but now you have the possibility to just rewrite your story and take it.
Make it different. So you said like you've seen Baghdad being more progressive, like people are more progressive. How did you see that?
Yeah, we just met people making something. We met people from the art world, we met people from the entrepreneurship world, also women from entrepreneurship world like you. So we heard these stories by people. We entered different cafes and we saw men and women working together also at the same table. I didn't feel any difference with people with places that we conceive as more progressive, I have to say.
What's the stereotype that you have? Like you said you went into cafes and you saw like everyone working together and everything. Was that a stereotype for you guys? Like to come in and in a Muslim country to find people working together, men and women?
It was not actually I think we are outliers, I would say, because both of us are massive travelers. We travel a lot, so kind of we know what to expect, especially in the big cities in every country. Also, Claudio lives in Middle East, so. But if the question is what's the bias of our friends, of my mother and my father.
Yeah, exactly. What is their bias?
Where do you go? I go to Iraq. You're crazy. There's war there. Come on. You can tell me that maybe there's instability, but the war has ended how many years ago?
Yeah.
Can you imagine that 9 people out of 10 in my friendship circle
Yeah.
think that here there's work.
Interesting. Very interesting.
You know what's I guess the easiest kind of conclusion we came with here, and I think is also very naive, probably a little bit again like a bit stupid from us, is really to kind of realize that this place is normal. You know, it's like just normal.
Yeah.
And again, we're lucky because we travel a lot. Obviously, I've been around the Middle East quite a lot as well. But I guess that's the kind of the main thing we probably go back home with when we think about the the stereotype that we had before coming, or at least the way that we want to kind of tell the story about it. And I mean, for us, it's also like simple, right? Like it's a country of 40 million people and a city of like 10 million people. Like, how can it just not be normal?
For me, it's more than normal. You know why?
Why?
Because every country I went to that is normal is a little bit boring. When you go in a country who has to fight against bias, in their fighting there's all the beauty. I mean, fighting is also just someone that needs to tell you, hello, where are you from? Welcome to my country. A normal country doesn't do it. A country that has to fight against a stereotype does it. So I really like to come in countries
You're
like
more
this.
welcome to live here.
And
if you want.
I come from a city that's Napoli, that's relatively to other cities in my country, in my continent, were perceived as dangerous, as a mafia city, as a city full of garbage. And my like the Napolitan population has this thing of these needs of saying to everyone, we are the city of the
Different,
sun,
yeah.
we are happy. I went to a favela in Brazil, I went to a villa in Colombia, and I really had fun. I really was surrounded by the joy of people that had to tell me that they are happy, that they are. So this is why that's more than normal. Because the normal country doesn't need to tell you, to show you, to share with you their positive vibes. You know?
Yeah, very nice perspective. I've never heard it before. So, what about you? Like, why did you choose to live in Dubai? I mean, the heat.
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to here, right?
Yeah, it's very
Money, Claudio, come on.
The honest answer is luck, or actually very randomly. Like I was working for a company in Italy, and for a short period of time, at the end of 3 months, basically, they told me, "Look, we like you, but if you want to stay in this company, there's no space here. So there's an opportunity to go to Dubai. Do you want to take it?" And obviously, I've kind of never been, I would say, for a long time in this part of the world. So I said, of course. And actually, as I was kind of alluding before, some of my family lived here. I guess in the 70s, in Iran and in Saudi.
But
And
I want to know more about that. Like, what are your family doing in Iran?
so it's basically my uncle. He was an engineer, and he worked on construction of airports and ports in Iran and Saudi.
Cool.
And actually, the cool thing about this is that so my uncle lived in Tehran from 70 to 78, and in his house is actually quite full of pictures of Tehran and how Tehran looked like before the revolution. And it's crazy, because you see all these, Pepsi logos, McDonald's, and people just kind of having the clothes that we wear today. And if you say this to kind of the average person in Italy, that's unthinkable, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit of that curiosity that kind of sunk in and made me a bit more interested politically into this place. The reality is that it's very enjoyable for me to be here, like really getting to know obviously Dubai is a different world, but I've been to all the countries in the Middle East except for Iran and Afghanistan, unfortunately. But kind of finding out like that, this massive place exists, and how people live here, it's so cool. It's things that we really don't grow up considering. And the thing is that if it was the opposite situation, and you would think about Italy or Europe as look at these guys, they're all racist, ignorant, stupid, I would be very unhappy with that, right? And I feel that this is probably something that you feel as well, right?
Yeah.
Compared to us. And I think that's really my main kind of driver of being here, apart obviously from the fact that I work in the Middle East. But look, it's really a matter of perspective, right? And as I was saying before, it's a perspective that it's also very relevant this year, last year, and the year before, for what is happening to this region and how people think about this region, in the world. And for me, it's just, also kind of makes me angry to think that by just living in this place, I understand things,
Yeah.
So that's a bit the spirit, but
That's very nice. So, do you feel like there's a common identity in the Arab world?
I mean, I think there's GCC people and the rest of Arabs, right? So there's
What is it?
there's people from the GCC
Okay.
and the rest of Arabs country, right?
Okay.
I guess people from the GCC became who they are, in the last 30, 40 years, right? If you think about Saudis and Emiratis, probably they were different 50, 60 years ago. I didn't think that, Iraqis, Iranians, Lebanese, Jordanians were different 50 years ago. And, we've joked about this word in the past couple of days, but I feel that, there's a certain sense of, kind of weighty culture, like we say in Latin, gravitas, that you feel when you go to these very important places, because they bring and they carry all that people have lived in their life, and it's just things that you cannot take away from them.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Gravitas, high level words.
I made the big
has
schools.
very high level. I mean,
His
you
mother
guys.
was my art teacher.
Oh, really?
That's true, actually.
Wow.
Yes.
I can tell like the vibe that you give. Yeah, your mother is an artist. Very nice. You all guys make a great team. Like very different personalities. You come in.
You haven't met
Really
the
nice.
others.
Oh, there's others.
Better
These
for you.
guys.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would love to meet them if we have time. What questions do you have for me?
What's the message that you will give to the Western world as a Iraqi woman?
My message in this podcast.
My
Yes.
message, no, the message that now through our documentary you want to give to our friends
Okay.
as an Iraqi woman.
So, Iraq is a beautiful country. It's very much developing, and things are becoming very, very different. But people have to understand that it has a really long road for it to develop. So people really need to understand that there is cultural things that is very wired, very embedded, that will take a lot of years to change, So people just should lower their expectations and higher their love to the country and just treat it with care. That would be my message.
Thank you. You have a motto?
Oh, for the podcast?
Mhm.
Motto?
Yeah.
Oh, for me personally?
General.
Yeah.
Okay, that's hard. I think I need to think about that.
What is our?
I'll go with something.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I'll go with something that I personally believe in, which is love is the source for everything good, and everything that comes out from love is good, It makes good in the world. Yeah. What about you? Do you have a motto?
I don't think so. It's a good question, actually.
Ama più che puoi e coltiva la libertà.
What is that?
No, love always triumphs. Let's keep that.
No, ama più che puoi e coltiva la libertà means love as much as you can and cultivate your freedom. It just comes from our theme song of this trip.
Very nice. Actually, I do have one last question. What is your message after you saw Iraq to Iraqis themselves?
To Iraqis, keep going, people. You are on the right path. Just keep going, and keep doing, because Jamil told me we are in this situation. We don't know why. Situation of stability. We don't know why. Just because we are lucky, and we hope to be lucky in the next years. I told him no. What I would tell him is no. Do things, not just hope of
Yeah,
being lucky.
very nice. I really like it. What about you? Do you have a message to Iraqis?
I guess it's probably something that I personally care a lot about, and is don't forget, you know, your dignity. Don't forget that you know who you are, really, and I guess just use that in your life without maybe having to change everything. Just make that thing first.
Very nice. Yeah, very thoughtful. I love it. I really like the conversation today. You sure, guys, you don't have any questions? You sure? Okay, amazing. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Sara.
coming
Thank you,
in,
Sara,
Vincenzo and
for hosting
Claudio.
us here.
I really appreciate you guys coming and making the time. I know you have a tight schedule doing this documentary.
Yeah. Now in our schedule, what's missing is the traditional fish of Baghdad.
Oh,
After
okay.
days of beef kebab. So